So this has recently finally happened. What am I talking about? Zebec just recently announced how the Zebec Super app is live. Now, nothing I say is financial advice, and I'll talk about the price of ZBCN very soon, but let's just talk about the magnitude of something like this, right? The Super app, I think, is such a great step in the right direction for Zebec moving forward because not only does it consolidate a lot of the aspects when it comes to Zebec into one place, but I think it could foster future adoption because arguably it just makes Zebec a lot more simple. Right? If a lot of different aspects are consolidated into one area, I think that right there arguably makes it more simple, right? It's like, for instance, imagine the Amazon headquarters in Seattle. It feels like everything is just kind of in that one cohesive location, right? At least personally for me, that's the way to take a look at it. So it's kind of like that. It's kind of moving a lot of offices into like one location like that, into the headquarters, right? It kind of reminds me of the Sears Tower in Chicago. I know they changed the name though to like the Willis Tower or something, but again, the Sears Tower, I just thought it's really cool. And I'll actually put a picture of me in front of the former Sears Tower right here. But yeah, besides that point though, when it comes to Zebec as well, they do say how the mobile consumer version and enterprise grade app is going to be released in the coming weeks. So this is just kind of the start, right? Because again, yes, the super app is live. However, they are still waiting for the mobile consumer version and the enterprise grade app, which will come again in the following weeks. So yeah, overall, I think it's a really cool update. They're finally doing it. You know, it was a talk for quite a while, and a lot of people were saying, oh, no one's really going to care about it. They're not going to deliver on this, but they've eventually done it, right? Which I think is really cool for the people who said, oh, they weren't going to do this, allegedly. They are doing this. So yeah, I think when it comes to Zebec, unlike other projects out there that say they're going to do this or do that and not really do anything, you know what? At least they're doing something. However, a lot of people like to tell me, oh, wow, it's not even a big deal. Who cares about this? Well, if a project arguably could become more simple, why is that a bad thing? Right? I mean, if anything, it's going to affect future hypothetical adoption, maybe. It may not showcase it as of right now because typically mass adoption doesn't just happen immediately in some cases. But at the same time, if this could prepare for it later moving forward, why not? That's the way to take a look at it. It doesn't mean it will, but at least it has a better kind of, I guess, chance of having maybe hypothetically better adoption through its simplicity. Because again, some enterprises out there, they do care about simplicity. So yeah, I think this is really cool actually in the grand scheme of things. Now, ZBCN, it's around 45.5 times lower than 10 cents. At least it's not around 50 times lower. Remember my last video where ZBCN was around 50 times lower than 10 cents? But yeah, besides that point though, the recovery has been slight, right? It's really not like too much in the grand scheme of things. I mean, again, ZBCN, it's still a far cry from a market cap of around 500 million in which it did achieve at one point back in 2025. So it's been an okay recovery, but I don't mind because if it's at least okay, you know what? It is what it is. Now, had ZBCN, let's say, not gone up, let's say it just went down a little bit more, because I'm looking to dollar cost average anyways, it's whatever, right? Because I'd ideally like to dollar cost average at a low of a point as possible. But of course, I don't want it to be that low forever. Why would I, right? It just makes no sense. So I'd like to temporarily dollar cost average at a low point, if possible, right? But I can't control that. And if things do hypothetically eventually recover, I'm not going to complain either. That's the way to take a look at it. But yeah, in the meantime, though, I think this has been a pretty cool achievement when it comes to Zebec because arguably, if it does achieve something that could maybe enhance, hypothetically, its future adoption, why not? That's kind of my mindset. So yeah, when it comes to Zebec, this has been pretty cool. And if we think about it, right? Zebec by nature is a pretty diverse project, so if it has aspects like payrolls and cards, and again, if it could just put it all into one place, that's really awesome in my opinion. Now keep in mind, at 10 cents, the market cap of ZBCN at that point would be around 9.8 billion, and that's even considering ZBCN's current circulating supply, which, it's not such an outlandish thing. I mean, even if we take a look at, let's say, XCN, right? Its closest competitor, or should I say Onyx. Onyx, or should I say XCN, like that at the hypothetical idea of 25 cents, the market cap would be around like 9 billion. So it's not like too far off this. And I mentioned this in my latest XCN video where I talked about this difference as well. But yeah, I just thought it's only fair for me to compare ZBCN to its arguably most closest competitor, which is, I think, Onyx. So yeah, during a hypothetical altcoin season, I don't think that this is necessarily just going to blow Onyx out of the water or vice versa. I don't think so. I think it's just going to be a little bit more of an even sort of competition maybe, because we've kind of seen that even historically where XCN was doing okay, ZBCN wasn't, and then ZBCN was doing okay, then XCN wasn't. So they've kind of been a little bit sort of in each other's, I guess, presence quite frequently in terms of popularity, in terms of what people usually talk about. But you know what? It's tomato tomato. It's like Batman and Robin as of right now. If I became Robin, I don't mind, but if I became Batman, I wouldn't mind either. That's the thing, right? Right now, it's just a competition as to who's going to be the Batman, who's going to be the Robin. At one point, it was XCN that was the Batman. ZBCN was the Robin. Who knows? Maybe ZBCN could be the Batman, and then XCN ends up being the Robin. Right? But we'll wait and see. We haven't seen a hypothetical altcoin season. So, again, it's an only time will tell type of scenario. But as of right now, they're kind of close, in terms of popularity. But either way, I still do believe that, let's say if there is a hypothetical altcoin season, I think that arguably they're still going to become like either number 4 or number 5 anyways within the niche of global trade and finance. The reason why is because if we take a look at Onyx and Zebec, I don't think that they could ever overtake like Ripple or Stellar or XDC if there was a hypothetical altcoin season in terms of popularity. I just don't think so. So automatically it's just like relegated to 4 or 5, right? That's the main contention as of right now. Now 6 and 7, that's like XPR and Swiftcoin. So, I don't think they're going to be overtaking Zebec or Onyx anytime soon. So yeah, I think Onyx and Zebec as of right now, the main competition is who's going to end up being 4th or 5th place. But really, in the grand scheme of things, why is that bad? If they're still top 5 either way, when it comes to the niche of global trade and finance, I'm not going to be complaining. That's kind of my mindset. So yeah, overall, I do like what I'm seeing when it comes to Zebec in terms of them launching the super app. Now, will this recovery when it comes to altcoins, generally speaking, be kind of prolonged? I mean, we'll wait and see. But in the meantime, though, I'd like it if things eventually did recover. But I'm still waiting. I'm still staying patient, and that's it. I just haven't given up because I feel like I made it so far just to leave. Like, no way. I'm not going to be doing that. I just made it too far to leave. That's the way to take a look at it. Like, I don't want to make it this far just to exit, basically. That's what I wanted to say. But yeah, besides that point, though, I just thought this was a pretty awesome update when it comes to Zebec. So, of course, I naturally wanted to talk about it because I am a fan of Zebec. At times, people didn't really care about the updates when it comes to Zebec, but you know what? I still kept talking about it because I just didn't want to give up. And as of right now, I'm going to still continue to do that. However, I'm not telling anyone to do anything, and I'll be sure to make more updated videos when it comes to Zebec moving forward. So hopefully y'all stay tuned for that. And yeah, it's been Lee the Captain. I hope you all have a very nice day. I'm out. Peace. Bye.